You are in for a real treat. This episode was originally recorded for my other podcast, but for you, it's been upgraded and transformed, and now you have the Ask the Pro show. So everything mentioned in this episode will now be found on chrisdufay.com, plus so much more, as I've designed the Ask the Pro podcast and chrisdufay.com to give you exactly what you need to grow your business success and for you to have the money, the freedom, and the happiness you want, making a bigger and better impact to the world unselfishly. So now it's time to delve straight into this episode, and I want you to lap up and enjoy every single second of it. Welcome to the Turning Pro Academy. I'm your host and your coach, Chris Dufay, and I'm giving you a very big thanks for being here with me right now, as I know there are more podcast choices than you can poke a stick at. So it makes me smile that you are here, and really seeing these podcasts just grow from week to week is amazing. So I'm thanking you for being a massive part of that. And this episode is a special one, just like them all. But I'm recording this right now for you in Bangkok, and I'm with a legend of a man that I know is going to give you some serious insights. As we met just over a month ago, he's moved to Bali as well from the US, and well, you're going to learn how he's gone from quitting his job to quite literally working a handful of hours per week and delivering some awesomeness. We delve into this episode how he has made that happen, what you can learn to build your future, the what to do's and the what not to do, so you can fast track your own success and you can learn from our mistakes. What you take away from today's episode, I know will have you more confident, in charge, and taking the right action. So strap yourself in, as this is all about giving you the success you want, making it faster and easier for it to happen. And if you're loving this, then you can really put a huge smile on my dial, because if you have not left a iTunes review yet, there is an issue we have to solve. And you can do that quite easily just by clicking on over. If you're loving the Turning Pro Academy podcast, if this is your first time here, delve on in, soak it up, and then you can click on over to iTunes to make a review, a 5-star review if you're loving it. And I would want only your honest feedback. And I know you like soaking up the audio in the podcast. So if you're wanting to get in better shape, if you want to burn fat, build and transform your body, then tune into and subscribe over at Fit Body Pro Podcast. That is quite easily at fitbodypro.com. This is where I can give you the specially advanced, proven strategies, plans, and advice. It's broken down into simple English to follow for the best of the best results, that I also bring on the best interviewees, the guests, the coaches, the doctors, that just the absolute insights that you need to learn from. It's all killer and no filler, making sure you avoid really the frustration and the confusion when it comes to your health, your fitness, and your physique over at Fit Body Pro. So make sure you get that. Though, to really get the most out of you being here with me right now, you need to get on over to turningproacademy.com. Right now, waiting for you is a treasure trove of free guides, online workshops, and insights that I'm giving straight out of what's working for the 6-figure PT program. So don't be a peanut and miss out on these, so you can double your income, you can double your clients. I'll show you how in the online workshops, or if you want to build your online fitness business or build your following, your reputation, your career, it's there. Just make sure you get on over, get the step-by-steps of the online workshops and the guides over there, along with the show notes and the links with this episode and every other episode. But wait no more, it's time for myself and Jason to unleash this episode. There's actually broken into 2. So the next episode after this, you are going to want to soak up as soon as you possibly can. But I'm looking forward to hearing back from your thoughts with this. So let's jump on in. My brother from another mother, Jason. Now we're sitting here in Bangkok. We both live in Bali at the moment, but we're both sitting here in Bangkok for a business conference, and we thought we would kind of do a fly on the wall situation and record our conversation now to share with the listener, because I think this is a unique. What I want to do is I want to share with the audience your story. I think this is so important because so many people right now are listening to us and they're in a situation, they're either in a job they just don't love, they're not getting the full fulfillment out of what the business they originally started out is giving them. They're not living the lifestyle that they really wanted to. And I kind of want to showcase you and what you're doing with, I just love your story. Like we've met each other just over a month ago and our relationship has blossomed into some bromance as it does. So I'm looking forward to getting into this and sharing your story and exactly how you got to this situation as well. So Jason, first up, thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for joining me.
Now, this is going to be good. So let's start off with this. Like, who are you? Who is Jason and why are you so phenomenal?
So, who am I? That's a great question. We all struggle with. So, I'm an entrepreneur and, I'm actually been living out of the States now for about 6 months. And honestly, I haven't wanted to go home. Just been having a blast and living like a king and, just enjoying life. And I've never been happier.
This is phenomenal. You got a smile from ear to ear every time we meet. Now, let's maybe go right to the start. Where'd you start from and how did you get to the situation you're in now?
So I was living in near Sacramento, California, near friends and family, much like most people in America. And I always had an interest in business, and I never really liked working for anyone else. But like any kid, a couple of years out of college, that's what I did. And I remember working in e-commerce, which I enjoy, but I did not enjoy having a boss, even though I like my boss and I'm still friends. And I'd be stuck in a commute. And the funny thing was in my commute, I'd be listening to a podcast. You guys are probably familiar with Tropical MBA.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, I'm sitting here living in Bali and now in Bangkok for the Tropical MBA annual meeting.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's just been like a blur, man. And, so ever since then, I was trying to start businesses and I failed quite a few times. And I didn't know what in the hell I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up starting one business after trying a few and something just shifted. It was like a paradigm shift and I just made it work. And then, a couple months after that, I moved to Scottsdale into like an entrepreneur house with two buddies. And, a couple months later, I quit my job. And even though I was scared shitless to do so. And, ever since then, it's just been, just a completely different life that I felt.
He's just a baller now, pretty much. Straight up. Now, let's go back to when you were in the job. You're still friends with the boss. It's not his fault.
No.
But it was kind of just a situation you wanted more. How much money were you making then and kind of what was the situation that you were just living day to day with there?
So I was making like a 42K salary and I started even less than that. And I have a college degree. Which, most of us do now. And I had to fight for every raise I got. And, my boss treated me well, but I felt so restricted in the confines of a cubicle and no control, right? I didn't have control of my life. I didn't have control of how much money I made. It was how many hours that I put in, and I couldn't even work overtime if I wanted. And so it was just a dead end, man. And,
what was your work situation like? What hours were you doing or how was it set up?
Doing 9 to 5.
Yeah, okay.
And, I'm the type of guy that I finished my work pretty fast, but, I had to be there from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I couldn't bolt.
Twiddling your thumbs from 10 to 5.
And, my boss knew that and he's like, well, I need you full time.
Yeah.
And, and it wasn't boring. It got boring, but something was missing. And I heard about these guys like living in Bali and in Thailand and, all over the world and making an income online. And I'm like, I can do this, You're probably sitting here saying the same thing. You were in the same situation a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And
we both kind of had that thought originally planted in our heads and
absolutely, man.
Grown.
And for me, something, so when I started my business, I probably worked 6 months without taking a break, and that was probably a mistake. And now that I moved out of the States and have been enjoying more time lately and not working as much, I realized life isn't just about money.
Yeah.
It's about a lifestyle. And I had been around people who worked 60 years of their life some and not made very much money and some that made a ton of money. And I never wanted to be a slave to money. Money to me is more like a tool. And you want your money working for you. You don't want to be peddling away your hours in business. So lately that's what I've been focusing on. And I have to tell you, last 6 months of my life have been some of the most incredible, months I've had. And I've probably worked the least I've had in a couple of years.
That's okay. I for the listener, I back that up 100%, seeing what you do as well. So it's phenomenal. Now let's kind of go to, let's drop the ball. What do you do now? And we'll kind of move on from here.
So I have a term I call product agnosticism. I don't really care what I sell, as long as it's making, as long as the product works, as long as it's not some snake oil, diet supplement. But that was the problem I was lacking, was a passion for what I was selling, was the product. I'm passionate about processes and business. I love, one of my favorite things, and that's, I think, why I get along so well with you, Chris, is, like, I met Chris a month ago, and, 5 months ago, Chris's business was, very small, and now he's doing 6 figures a month. And I'm like, that is awesome, man. And that's what fires me up. And I realized that I just have a passion for this business, for online marketing.
Your passion is the business itself, like the business platform, the structures, the systems, how it's put together.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've got a villa in Bali, and my buddy Rich lives with me, and he quit his job to start his business, and I got to witness his first sale a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And that reminds me of my first sale. Yeah. And that's what fires me up. So I actually decided I'm going to help, entrepreneurs, online marketers, and people who are in jobs escape the 9-to-5 lifestyle and, build their own online business. So that's just what I'm doing and what I'm passionate about.
I love that you're doing that, because it's a big part of both what we do is showing people how to do this. And why we're recording this right now is we've had a taste and we're living this lifestyle, and I feel like it would be wrong for us not to help others get there, because I know so many others that want to, like, do you know what I mean? They talk about it. They think it might be capable. They think it might be true, but then they're kind of like the fears come into their brain. They stop them from making it. And like, we both had to take a leap at some stage. You had to quit your job you had to move to Arizona. Like, you had to go through these things.
I had to throw my printer off the back.
Okay, let's go into that now. Because what you're currently, the businesses that you're currently running now isn't obviously what you started originally.
Right.
What was this, let's do this.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a split with so much more for you. Now, I know you're listening and tuning in because you know how important your health is and how this can also catapult your business. This is why I'm very happy to say that this podcast is sponsored by My Body Blends and my favorite, the Superfood Elixir, the powerful greens drink. Now, this is designed specially to boost energy, aids detoxification, enhances the ability to burn fat, supports healthy carbohydrate metabolism, and best of all, is voted best tasting greens drink. Now, myself and the My Body Blends team are looking for ambassadors to join, so you and your clients get the health benefits plus adding in a strong income stream for you and your business. The ambassador program, which is by application only, means you get exclusive access to sell My Body Blends products like Superfood Elixir to your clients, plus giving you the special ambassador pricing and bonuses. So once you become an ambassador, you can join the other top health and fitness players that are adding thousands to their week's income. Now, there is only a limited number of ambassadors we are taking on board, as this is a tribe leading the way together. So to apply and to join, go to mybodyblend.com/ambassador or add the checkout code that is TurningPro, all one word, when you're going to get your own Superfood Elixir to order. Plus, you're going to get free shipping and a bonus to save yourself over $250 instantly. So just use that coupon code TurningPro in the checkout and you can save over $250 right now, all on mybodyblend.com.
So of all things, I was selling customized pet ID tags, and what they were driver's licenses. So you can customize, go on my website, make your own dog a customized driver's license, and I would make it and ship it to you.
So it's like the ID tag hanging off its collar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
And
how did you come about this first? Because I wouldn't think originally be like, oh, I'm going to sell ID tags for dogs.
This is one thing I constantly harp on. You've heard me say this. I don't think you have to reinvent the wheel to make money, right? Yeah. And I certainly did not, So the best product ideas, in my opinion, is something that already exists with a slight twist.
Yep.
Which is exactly what mine was. And honestly, I was just chatting with my uncle about it, who loved his dog. And it somehow spurned from our conversation. I'm like, that's a cool idea. So I made one for my uncle's dog. Yeah. Stuck it on him. And he said people stopped him all the time. Where did you get that? I want one, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, done. I'm going to do this.
That's cool.
Long story short, I built the software and launched, and I didn't know the first clue how to get a customer. Yeah. I was more marketing green than most people. I mean, I had a little bit of Google AdWords experience and that's it.
Yeah.
So, I found a way to sell these things and, they started selling really well. And I was making these things myself. I actually moved home to my parents' garage and to save money, I was 28 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can save like $700 rent.
Yeah.
Or $1,000 or whatever. And I can put that towards my business.
Yeah.
And so I did that, started in the garage, and I would like make these things. I bought the printers, all the equipment. Like I hated making these things.
How many were you making in a day?
Oh, it would depend anywhere from like on a slow day to 10 to like 100 in a good day.
Whoa. So, and how many hours would that?
I can't, man. I don't even know. I would go to work. I'd come home, like maybe take a 20-minute power nap, do some marketing stuff, and put off the manufacturing.
Okay, cool. So you were actually still working at the other job while, okay, that's really, okay, awesome. So you're grinding.
Just grinding, man. And I would be up to like 3 a.m. sometimes. Yeah. Like, and then I go to work, 7:30 in the morning, man, and just on it, like just did it.
Yeah.
So I moved to, I was making these things in my house, right? And I met, a guy in Scottsdale who, had several successful businesses and did really well. And, he asked me what my numbers were. I'm like, I did like 10,000 last month, and he's like, really? He's like, that's cool. I was like, I don't know. Cause I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And so I told him that I was doing the manufacturing on my own and I had a printer and I had like a lot of self-limiting beliefs, as we like to call them. And I didn't know I did.
Yeah.
Had no clue. And one of my self-limiting beliefs is that I couldn't outsource my production cost effectively, right? Because I had made like 5 phone calls.
Yeah.
And so he looked at me and he's like, throw that fucking printer off the balcony. He said that word for word. And I looked at him like, what?
Yeah.
Because in my mind, that was the way I was making money, right?
Yeah. If you were to give it to someone else to do that job, in your head, you would have been losing money or not making any money at all.
Right. And then he did a reframe for me. He's like, how many people have you called? I'm like, 5. And he almost laughed at me. He's like, all right, I want you to go home and I want you to make 100 calls this week to manufacturers. Expect 99 no's for 1 yes. And I was like, oh, okay. I get it. Like I didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
Like I just stopped, which is, what most of us do. And, so I think I made about 40 something calls until I found one person that was like, yes, I think we could do this. I think we could hit your price point. At this point, I had moved to Scottsdale, Arizona into the entrepreneur house and, called it Project Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And then my manufacturer ended up being like a 5-minute drive down the road.
Oh, wow.
So I told him I'd throw the printer off the balcony as promised. So we go up, I live on a 3rd story, nice apartment down there because we're splitting it and Arizona's cheap. Yeah. If anybody wants a cheap apartment, it's beautiful out there. And I took my printer and chucked it off our balcony into the volleyball pit.
How big was the printer?
It was pretty small. This one,
but it was your lifeblood for your business.
Yeah. And it was funny because like probably 2 nights before I was sitting there like, printing shit and it's, at midnight and like one of my roommates had a job and it's just like, he wakes up, he's like, dude, I can hear your damn printer all through the night. I'm like, sorry, man, like priorities, you got to quit your job.
I'm hustling, yeah.
And I actually was working remote at this time, so I still had a job.
Yeah.
Then this is about the end of November, and then early December rolled around, and I was making more money like in a day, maybe like triple, maybe sometimes double or triple my income at my day job per day. So I like, this doesn't make any sense for me to sit here and do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I emailed my boss, and I was like, hey man, here's my resignation letter. Like, and then 2 weeks later, I had quit. Now I went over to my manufacturer, got it all set up, like walked him through the process and we ran through and made a few and the product came out better than when I was doing it. So I was happy and I was like, all right guys, so how many can you do in a weekend or a day? They're like, well, I don't know. And this is like a small mom and pop printing company. It wasn't anything big. Yeah. And, they're just like, give us as many as you can handle. I was like, all right. And at this point I had paid traffic on Facebook down and converting.
Yeah.
So I went from spending $250 a day on ads to $1,000. Yeah. I had my biggest weekend ever. We had like a 5-figure weekend. Yeah. In dog tags, mind you, I'm selling $15, $20 a piece, right? And
we're talking dog tags here.
Yeah. I'm sitting here like, I had my best day ever. It was just like phenomenal. And another quick story is I had some self-limiting beliefs and fears about spending money to make money, right? Like, I mean, think about it. I was making $160 a day at my job, or $180, whatever it was. Yeah. But I was spending $250 a day on advertising. Yeah. So in my head, I'm like, well, I could lose $70, like, holy shit. And, a friend, my mentor actually helped me overcome it. He's like, look, just keep spending. He's like, I want you to spend $1,000 in ads today. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I sat there and like, I'm nervous. I put a bunch of campaigns up and I'm literally like, and I rarely get nervous. I'm sitting there nervous. Right? And 12:30 rolls around. I'm like, man, I gotta get a 6-pack. I was staring at live analytics, people bouncing around my site, people making orders, and I couldn't get anything done. And so I went and got a 6-pack and just sat there drinking beer.
I had to chill out for a bit.
Yeah. Watching my analytics on Friday and people buy. And I ended up doing well that day.
Yeah.
And that got me over my fear of, spending money on advertising and all the fears that I had.
I think I'll just jump in because a lot of people initially when they first start dealing with paid advertising, it's a scary thing because, you might throw $100,000 in. Okay. But the difference is, and I want the listener to really take this in, is you knew what was working. You had a converting offer.
Right.
So the analogy I kind of use with paid advertising is it's either like a slot machine, like a poker machine, or a vending machine. So when people start out and they don't know what they're doing, it's like a slot machine. You put money in, you have a go, you don't know what's going to happen, and you're probably going to lose money.
Right.
But a vending machine is you put $1 in and I know exactly what I'm going to take out of it. And that's exactly what you created there.
And you're right. It was exactly like a slot machine in vending. I lost money. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't figure out what's working.
Yeah.
And with paid advertising, you kind of have to say, hey, I'm setting a budget up and I expect to lose this money.
Yep.
And, and it's like your education. Right?
Yes.
So yeah, that's a great point. I never thought about it like that. New analogy.
You can steal it.
I probably will. I'll credit you.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the printer story real quick.
Yeah.
So I threw the printer off the balcony, right? I wasn't capable of making these things myself anymore. So my manufacturer calls me Monday at 5 p.m., right? Hey, Jason, we broke some of the equipment that you brought us to make your stuff. And I'm like, what? You broke it? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, how many orders did you get out? 50. I was like, there's a few hundred orders here, man. So I was and I'm like, they're like, yeah, we need you to take care of it. No help from them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck,
Yeah.
what do I do?
Yeah.
And I was freaking out. I'm like, okay. So at this point, I was going to lose out on 5 figures and had to refund everybody if I could figure it out. I didn't know much about manufacturing or where to get it. I didn't even know what the piece I needed was called. I had to figure that out, right? So I dreaded waking up the next morning. It was 5 p.m. when they told me, so I couldn't do anything at that point. Yeah. So I just hopped on the phone and just made as many calls as I could. And I literally thought, I'm like, well, if I had my printer, I can make these.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I didn't. And I threw any other option of me, going backwards, right? It's like you just make a jump and you can't go back.
Yeah.
And when you do that,
it's like you say, you burn your ships so you can't go back. You either conquer or die.
So I had to figure this out. And had I had that printer, I probably would have gone back to the old way of doing things and had the same problem. But I didn't. So, it took me a whole day, but I got the problem solved. I rush ordered parts that I need. It was a custom thing. And we were back manufacturing 2 days later. So I didn't have to say anything to my customer. It'd be still shipped, a couple days late. No one complained. And, it's just burn your ships and just make the jump. There's a safety net there. You just can't see it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of also thinking worst case scenario as well, as in okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? And a lot of the time, initially, if you don't actually think it through, you think the world's going to end, the sky is going to fall, but it's not going to happen like that. Something can always happen. For yourself, you did move back to your parents, then you got it working, and I kind of see through this story, there was multiple leaps that you had to take. One, you had to take the actual leap of quitting your job. Then you moved, do you know what I mean, to Arizona. Then you took on the mentor so he could help you through, stop those limiting beliefs. Then you drop kicks your printer off the balcony, do you know what I mean? And then got to that. And then now the situation is through those leaps, it's always worked out. It's never been a straight line, would you say?
Never.
Do you know what I mean? It's been a zigzag going everywhere. But then you're kind of in this situation now. I kind of want to switch over to the mentor part because we didn't really delve into that. What was the tipping point for you with that? Why did you seek someone out initially? What did he do for you and what did you learn from it?
The funny thing is I didn't seek him out directly. I kind of felt, why would anybody mentor me? What value could I add?
Yeah.
And, I think I knew a lot of people that felt that way. And I think that's just a wrong way to go about it. No matter, who you are, what you're doing now, you have value to add to someone. And, he kind of it just kind of worked out where I met him and he saw me take action. Like I made those calls. I sent him like the video of me taking off the printer, and he loved it, right? And he shared it with his whole office. He's like, look at this kid. I told him to throw his printer off the dock, and he did it. And that's when I realized the value of mentorship. And he opened so many doors for me, and he introduced me to his network.
Yep.
And for me, it's always important you might be doing very well in business, but someone's always doing better than you are.
Yes.
And it's always good to like, have people you look up to and like, yeah, man, like Chris, like, dude, you're killing it right now. Right. But we just had, dinner with the guy who was doing like over $250,000 a month, and you'll get there soon.
Yeah.
And it's just always good to.
Yeah, it's a really good point. So like, I think the beauty is like we connected first, and we're both like, let's help each other out. We're on the same kind of page. We're on the same mindset. We can give each other value. Like, you want to do this, I want to do this. We can, awesome. Like, this works out really well. Now we're sitting here in Bangkok in this exact hotel now. Like, we're just down in the lobby chatting to the dude that's doing over $250,000 per month. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just chatting about another dude in his hotel right now. Just sold his company for over $100 million. Like, next level situations. And they're dudes. Like, they're just
like you and me.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so important is, we tend to like these people, we make them into these people that are like,
yes, good point.
Like,
gurus, gods.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and it's like, it's almost becomes out of the realm of possibility in our heads. And when you meet these people and they're just like you and I, it becomes no big deal. And it's like, hey, this is possible.
Yeah.
I mean, the life that, Chris and I are living right now, like, I never thought was possible.
Yeah, true.
And, so I never realized that I needed a mentor in the beginning.
Yeah.
But looking back, I realized like I never would have gotten as far as I have without that.
Yeah.
And I'm always seeking out, other mentors, and it doesn't even have to be like a mentor-mentee relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris and I help each other out, and Chris knows a lot of things I don't, and I have experience that Chris does.
Yeah.
So in effect, it's like people are your biggest shortcut.
Absolutely.
In life.
I would say if I had to redo it again, I would have found someone, a coach, a mentor, and just said like, I will give me a toothbrush. I will clean your bathroom. Like, I will get your coffees. I'll like just soak up the information from someone like that before, like, just so amazing.
And, that's why like, events you go to and people you meet are so important because as your network grows, it's like now if I need to know something, I just make a phone call, send an email. Yeah. And I can't stress how important, like,
absolutely.
having a mentor is. And I always, like, your mentor won't always be the same mentor forever. At some point, you're going to find someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're going to come through different obstacles. You get to different bottlenecks. You grow, and absolutely, they can always be in your life. It's not like you drop kick them off the balcony.
They become friends, more or less.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think it's a good point because for me, it was like, I believe in personal training because I always saw the value in, like, you get a personal trainer because they give you accountability, but they also give you the steps into what you need to do to get there. Like, and this is the thing as well is for us, you have a coach or a mentor, and for the listener, you have a coach or mentor because they're going to give you the accountability, so you're going to be able to walk through, but also the steps. Like, everything is just a formula. Like, this is what I continue to see is a recipe. It's a step-by-step. Like, as you just said, you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
It's not rocket science.
Just learn what someone's done successfully before and adapt it to yourself.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but as I've met more and more people, I look at the steps, and it's almost like a system.
Yes.
Like, they're different markets and different customers, but it's a series of systems that you just need to learn to master.
Yes.
Right? And you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And, I wish there were more like step-by-step or how-to stuff. And, now every piece of training or knowledge I can get my hands off, I'm like devouring.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is so cool, I think it's just everyone's business is a system. And
I think it's just so perfect that you said that because I think the way we think and the way we actually show our clients and how we produce things for other people to show is like, I'm just very like, this is just the steps. Like, I want to break it down so it's like a dummy's guide of like, just if you just do this, you're going to get to this. Like, that's the exact coaching that I have for the clients. And it's the same way you've been piecing together for what you do. And I think that's just because okay, I was going to say it's common sense, but common sense isn't common a lot of the time. It's just, just what works.
This stuff isn't taught. You're not going to learn this in college. You're not going to learn this in school.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I didn't, I went to college and I enjoyed it, but it has literally done me zero good for what I'm doing now. And I was a business major. So I would rather use my college tuition for like mentorship and marketing courses and how to find a product. Like that stuff, like you're never taught.
The other thing as well that I find interesting is both what we're doing to show people where to get where they want to go is like we could never do a course that got us here. Like I was like, I wish they could have done that. Do you know what I mean? Like how many times have we failed? Like how much money have we blown having to get here? Like I was just talking to the listener will know because I've had John Logo on the podcast before, but I was just talking to him yesterday down the lobby. Like last year, he spent over $100,000 on masterminds alone. And like, it's because his stuff isn't in a course, but that's what we want to put together, like for our own clientele and members and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I just think like, I run into so many people that blow my mind in what they're selling, right? I met a guy yesterday.
Do this.
He's selling, like 10,000, I think he's doing like at least $10,000 or $15,000 a month on Facebook selling t-shirts. And he's selling it
towards the market.
Grandmas, 60, 70-year-old women. And I would never have guessed that.
Yeah.
And he's just killing it.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times people, have blown my mind. I mean, and I know people told me you sold how many dog tags last month?
Yeah.
When, and I think it was like $40,000 worth of dog tags. And people were like, what? Like, that's awesome. So yeah, I think everybody overcomplicates it. And it's not an easy process by any means, but it's not rocket surgery.
What do you think the biggest takeaway would be that you can give to the listener now with the importance of what you have gone through, the trials and tribulations of what you've gone through to what has come now?
So I think the biggest thing for me is doing. As soon as I stopped Googling and searching and reading, and they all have their value, I just started trying things.
Yep.
And I never had like any course or anything to follow. It was just like, I'm going to try this and try that. And just doing, even if it's like your first product, say from China or whatever you're making, and it doesn't go well. Like you lose some money on it. That process of learning that is more valuable than any other education.
I see that as like a tuition fee.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the biggest turn point is to stop mentally masturbating. And just launch something.
Yeah. No, okay, good. You just got to pull the trigger at the end of the day.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you can go around asking, 50 of your closest friends if your product will sell, and you're likely not to get the truth from them, and they're not going to know because they're not the market. So when you start testing your stuff out in the real market, you get real feedback.
Beautiful.
And they're going to say, this is awesome. Or this sucks.
Yep.
And you'll know.
You have a market message media fit with what's going on, and you just find that out by doing it at the end of the day. Because I think a lot of the time as well, like people might say, okay, like, go out and ask your clients what do they want and everything and I find surveying people is good, but the real survey is, are they going to pull their wallet out and give you their credit card number and press that button? That's the survey you really want.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I wish, I did everything the hard way. I learned to write my own copy. I learned to do my own marketing. I was in Facebook marketing when their stuff was broken. I mean, I remember spending 3 hours trying to submit a URL in my ad, and there was a bug where the URL was just too long. And I was so frustrated. And so anything that could have made my life easier, I would have consumed immediately.
Yeah.
So stuff like that you can learn and take from others. But, and even I would have tested my product. I spent 3 months developing it and getting it, which I could have shortened, knowing what I know now. And now when I go into a market, I like to test things, and I can test things quickly and cheaply.
Yeah.
And before I go spend, my money and time on it.
Really good point. So we won't say his name, but anyway, the dude that we were talking about, and because I was in the cab with him last night, and we're talking about, so he's got a SaaS, a software as a service, and we're talking about that, about him getting it together, launching it, building it, growing it and everything. And I was like, well, what's the biggest takeaway kind of getting about it? And he's like, he's talked to a lot of people that have done similar things, and because he's worked with a lot of developers. And he said the best thing to do is start with the minimal viable product. Start with something that you are actually ashamed to launch
right,
and build on it from there and get constant feedback and change and tweak and update and upgrade.
Absolutely.
And then go from there. And what does that boil down to? Exactly what you said. Start, pull the trigger, execute.
Yep. And you just have to silence anybody, the haters. Like, my back to like our lifestyle, my friends on Facebook are like, dude, I don't understand. You're on a constant vacation. Like, what are you doing? And I think they're starting to get annoyed, and I really want to open up this lifestyle to other people.
Yeah.
I want more friends doing this, man. Yeah. And to me, like, it's just an eye opener when, you can not work all day and make more money than most people in a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you do that, there's no going back.
It is. It's a really good point.
And I'm passionate about helping people do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what could have helped me in that stage. And I still take courses, man. Like, I'm still buying courses and I'm still learning more stuff. Like, it's never ending. I think it also is kind of like the more you learn, the more you find out. And I found this exactly with the personal training world. Like, you kind of learn, it was like genetics, epigenetics, and then it was just like functional medicine. But it's the same with the business and what we're doing now as well. It's kind of like the more you learn, the more you find out how much you don't know. Right. Yeah, and like Chris, I can like pick up the phone or send him a message about some fitness related thing, and he gives me like this long answer, and I was like, whoa, this guy really knows what he's talking about, And if you run into that guy, it's like no matter how much time you spend in business, there's someone like that knows about something you don't know. And then you just realize that, whoa, I've got to it's time to hit the books. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the next episode, we're going to delve into a real step-by-step what Jason has done to be in this situation now, what you can start doing as well, and to be able to really leverage yourself from where you are now to where you really want to go. And a big part of what I wanted us to do here is to plant the seed of what really is it that you want as the listener? What do you want to be able to do? Where do you want to go? And think bigger as well. I think a lot of the time people will be like, I want to earn, an extra $1,000 a week. Or I challenge you, why not 10 times that? Or why not look at it from the standpoint of what do you want your life to look like? Exactly right. Okay, we're going to go into the next episode. So make sure you get straight into that for yourself. Oh man, that's cool. So now it's time for you to click on over to chrisdufay.com. That's chrisdufey.com to get all the guides and show notes. And if you are wanting the workshops where I walk you through how to build your online business, click on over to chrisdufay.com/start here. This is where I can give you the exact training guides and the workshops for exactly where you're at and the answers that you need. Now, every Friday I'm coming back to you with a new episode. So be sure to subscribe, and if you haven't already, you're going to be getting the world's best insights, the advice and the answers to give you the business, the money, the freedom and the success and happiness that you want. And I want to give you a huge muchas gracias for being here with me, and as always, get in touch with me via the site or via social, as Ask the Pro is about me giving you the answers that you need. So ask away.